The Glowplume is now available within Path of Titans. This is a mod made by Erebus as part of the Ex Argilla team and is a brand new fantasy creature, and well, today we're talking about it. This, of course, is the mod. It looks absolutely gorgeous. Here is the male really quickly, and here is the female. Coloration differences there on the default skin. Then you go to your subspecies. You've got Luminar, which is Nyctopenna luminar, which is the default. Then you've got the lipped version, which if we can have a quick look at it there, when he finishes up with his emote, you can see that it has lips rather than exposed teeth. Then you go to the minimal feathering variant, which of course removes all the feathering, but is kind of like the standard version. And then you go to quilled, which is feathers plus quills, and then just quills instead of feathers. And then Archaea, which is Nyctopenna Archaea. This is the old design for the Glowplume. Then you've got Regina, which is the stocky version of the Glowplume. And if I'm honest, this one is my favorite out of the bunch in terms of the look. And also the way the tail moves is really nice. Look at that. That is a very fluid tail movement there. Then you've got Ophiomorpha, which is the slim build. And then, of course, you've got back to Luminar. So let's go ahead and showcase this in game, shall we? So the Glowplume is a 3-slot carnivore within the game, and as a baby, this thing is actually quite small. Well, compared to other 3-slot carnivores. I mean, compared to a Lambio, I guess it's just as long though, if not longer. So if you want to bear that in mind, that length could be what gives you away to your opponents. Of course, when you're attacking baby dinosaurs as this baby, this is how much damage you do on your standard bite. Now, this bite, you may notice, does a poison venom based look. This is not poison or venom. It is Noxin. Noxin is a neurotoxin that also comes from your feathers as well when you are attacked, but you also deal this with your standard bite. But this does a debuff called Noxin, which increases sprinting speed stamina drain by 1%, decreases stamina recovery by 3%, and decreases speed by 1%. It also decreases turning speed by 2% and can stack up to 15 times. So instead of doing that with your standard bite as in a high damage bite, you're dealing Noxin there. Now, of course, as I've already mentioned, this thing comes with a standard bite, and there you go. The cool thing to know when this thing does its bite, by the way, if you notice, the little like horn or frill on its nose like kind of pings up, and I think that looks really cool. As for mobility when you're a baby as well, this thing is of course very mobile. It's got a very tight turning circle and should be good in combat in that sense. The only issue that you have being a very long creature is that things might be able to easily bite your tail regardless of how big your turning circle is. Anyways, the calls for the baby are these. Now, one thing about the Glowplume now when it's fully grown is that, one, the size of this thing still stays smaller than other 3 slots, although, I mean, when you go into your bipedal stance, then it changes. This thing, yes, as you can see, can go bipedal, and this thing looks a lot cooler when it's bipedal in my eyes. I think it looks absolutely awesome, but of course, this is kind of like when Lambiosaurus goes into its bipedal stance, which is like this. And there you go, there's 2 bipedal creatures stood next to each other. But that being said, in terms of the Glowplume itself, this thing is absolutely stacked with abilities, and that's what we're going to be talking about and showcasing right now. As for the abilities, this thing has a lot. You've got a lot of attack options as well, so you may feel a little bit overwhelmed with the varied choice here. But, I mean, that's a good reason. There's a lot of stuff to go over here. So, let's start with the passives. You've got facultative biped, which is instead of crouching, you go bipedal. When bipedal, you have increased stamina regen, turn radius, and precise movement speed. It's kind of like crouching, but obviously a different stance. Then you've got noxious secretions. So this secretes the neurotoxin, which is noxin, onto your feathers. Now, I've already discussed what noxin is. It's a debuff. So if someone were to attack you, they would get the debuff from noxin. So maybe, technically, you don't even need the noxious bite to be able to, you know, get the noxin itself onto your opponents, because they'd just attack you anyways and get it. As for your other passives, you've got regeneration, which increases health regeneration by 10%. You've got quick, which increases acceleration by 50%, and toxic, which increases poison damage by 15%. As for the head, you then move to 4 head-based abilities. You'll have plenty of choice here. You've got Necrotizing Strike, which is an attack dealing minimal damage, but inflicts damage over time for 10 seconds, dealing a percentage of the target's current health, which is quite interesting to note there. That being said, you've got Noxious Bite there, which deals Noxin and light damage. Devour, this is a bite that does low damage and bleed, however, it does slightly heal you when you bite your opponents. Then, of course, you've got Heavy Envenomation, an attack dealing heavy damage and 5 stacks of Noxin. So maybe, technically, you may want to pick and choose here which one might be the best for you, although that healing bite definitely could be great in fights. As for your senses, you then got Alluring Voice, which is a buff, effects last 20% longer. You've then got Dripping Fans, which deals 10% more poison and recovers stamina 10% faster during the night. Then you've got Fearsome Visage, which decreases the attack of the closest playable by 10% during the night. And then you've got Noxious Presence, which increases trotting speed and stamina recovery rate by 10% when nearby a noxious creature. After that, you go to your front limb, and once again, you've got a lot of choice here. You've got a Claw Attack, which does medium damage and medium bleed. You've got Claw Barrage, which is a quick claw attack that increases in damage with each hit. You need to be bipedal to do this one. Then you've got Sweeping Edge, which is a lunging attack, which momentarily stops the movement of your target. You must be sprinting to use this one. For your metabolism, you then got Hyper Carnivore, and then for your hide, you've got Glistening Plume, which gains 10% armor during the night, Noxious Feathers, which attacks towards you, inflict Noxin on your opponents, but you take 10% more damage. Then you've got Tattered Down, which increases bleed and venom healing by 30%. After that, you then go to your legs. You've got Standoff, which increases bipedal speed and precise turning by 10%, which could be quite strong. Then you've got your back limb. You've got 6 options here. A back kick, which does high damage and bleed. Then you've got Brace, which is 10% less incoming damage and reduced knockback by 50% when bipedal. Full Moon, which is a 360-degree tail attack, dealing medium damage and knockback. Half Moon, which is a 180-degree tail attack, which inflicts Noxin. Then you've got Surge, which is a rapid dash forward. And then you've got Noxious Tail, which is a tail attack, dealing light damage and inflicts Noxin. And then for your voice, you've got Mimic, which provides 3 Mimic-based vocal abilities: Tyrant's Mimesis, Enraging Mimesis, and Mending Mimesis. Now, of course, these basically reduce incoming damage by 10% for 30 seconds, heals you slightly for Mending, and then Tyrants increases your attack by 10% for 30 seconds as well, which is quite interesting there. Let's showcase all the animations and everything for them, and then let's showcase the attacks on a Lambio. So, as for the attacks, it's now time to showcase all of these on the unlucky Lambiosaurus. So, let's start off with the Noxious Bite and the Necrotizing Strike. So, in terms of the Lambiosaurus, when you bite it with the Noxic Bite, that's what it does. And in terms of time, the abilities last for all. It's about 7 seconds for one and 10 seconds for the other. So, you get 2 debuffs with the attack, but I'm pretty sure that is just the Noxing effects. Then you go to your Necrotizing Strike, which is a charge-up attack that does 8 seconds, roughly 9 seconds of the debuff, and then you have Devour. Now this one is the one that slightly heals you with the attack, and that's why my health is now low, so I can showcase that. So it's very minimal healing, but it does generate a temporary healing time, and it's got a cooldown of about 12 seconds for the attack. The other one, of course, is Heavy Envenomation, which does a lot of damage and also does the Noxing effect. Now let's move into the claw attack. So you start off with your standard claw, which there you go, it does bleed as well. What's crazy about this is the sheer amount of combinations you could do. This is a bleeder and a venom based playstyle pretty much. Then of course you've got your claw barrage. Now this one should stack. So you got 1 there, you got, well, it stacked 2 every time, and then you go to 6, 7, 8. Okay, it's just a 10 stack, but when you're on that 10 stack, it is insane. I thought there it could go further. Normally you see these and they cap at, I think, 5. So, yeah, a 10 stack is very strong at that. The next attack, of course, is Sweeping Edge. Now, one thing I do want to say here is that, of course, I'm dealing all these attacks and they're all hitting. But realistically, they might not always hit. When you're in a combat situation, some of your claw attacks might miss. And equally, you might be being, dealt a lot of damage from your opponent, which will cause you to pull away. So do bear that in mind as well. As for that, you also have your Full Moon and your Half Moon back kick attacks. So this is Full Moon. There you go, there's the knockback there, and you see the envenomation that has happened from that. Now, the Half Moon currently isn't working, so I'm going to change Dinosaur and see if that will cause it to change. But let's showcase the other abilities first. As I will show you right now, this is what Half Moon does. Nothing, but the tail does glitch out a little bit. Then, of course, you have your back kick, which does a lot of damage. There you go, pretty decent. That's followed up with the tail, which does very little damage, but also does Noxing. So that is that for those main attacks. I do want to showcase the other one that I didn't showcase the animation for, and that is Rapid Surge, or Surge Forward, or Surge, I'm pretty sure. This is just rapid movement forward, as you can see. There it goes. And I think this thing looks really cool when it does this animation. I think it looks great. And it lasts a very, very long time as well. It uses a decent amount of stamina as well, so do bear that in mind. The other thing that is quite important is this thing does drain stamina quite a bit when it is moving as well. So that's another thing that you really have to bear in mind with this thing. So with the Half Moon ability not working, I have now tried it with for this as an adult, because I gotta say the calls are really nicely done for this thing as an adult. So this thing has a lot of skins, and these skins look pretty awesome. So let's really quickly showcase them. You've got the default skin right here, which is really nice. Then you've got Masked, which is a gorgeous skin. And one thing that is quite important here, all of these glowy colors look very, very bright, and we're going to see how that looks at nighttime in a moment. This is the Nidaria skin, which I've definitely mispronounced. Either way, a gorgeous skin. Then you've got Outlined, you've got Painted, followed by Weeper, Then you've got Bluefoot, Firework, which is a gorgeous skin. I gotta say, I really like this, right? What secondary colors do you have for the Firework there? Orange. There we go. Perfect. Best color going. Then, of course, you've got Corvid, which is a gorgeous skin. Parvo. Then you have Ectoplasm. Floret. Crackled, which is a really nice orangey based skin. Definitely my favorite skin for this mod. They've got the albino and the melanistic. Now, there's one thing that is very important to know. I'm going to showcase this right now with this mod. And that is during nighttime, these skins are actually kind of bioluminescent in a sense because they do glow during the night. Therefore, the name, the Glowplume. Let me really quickly showcase this on a different skin. Let's showcase this one on... Let's go with Firework, shall we? And showcase what I mean with that. So, obviously, the showcase colors are... I forgot the name of them, but like these colors. Look at that. Like, this is mid-skipping. But once it's shedded, yeah, this thing glows during the night. Very standout, very nice, very epic. You guys thought I would have missed that. And I'm not going to lie, I almost did miss it until I was going through the skins. So, yeah, that is pretty cool. Let me know your thoughts about that in the comments down below. So, of course, this was the Glowplume, and there's some other stuff I'm going to showcase while I'm outroing this. So, the jumping capabilities as an adult, it can jump. Not really that much. And I was also told that apparently this thing is a decent swimmer despite it not really being a semi-aquatic. So we're going to quickly go to the water. I'm going to quickly have a look at that. One thing that I do want to bear in mind here is that this is a very, very nice and well put together mod. So hats off to Erebus and the gang over at Ex Argilla for this. Let's really quickly see if the people who said it was good at swimming well, they were right. This thing is actually pretty good at swimming. The swimming drain is quite quickly, but like it's got a nice swimming animation and all that jazz. So yeah, that's actually pretty good for that. As for the sitting and the sleeping animations, of course, this is your sitting and your sleeping. I love how it covers its face with the tail fan as if it is hiding from the sun. Anyways, let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments down below. This is a brand new mod that has just came to the game. And no, this was not the mystery dinosaur that was teased by Path of Titans themselves. That being said, I'd love to know what you think. A new 3-slot carnivore fantasy creature that I gotta say looks pretty cool. This thing looks menacing. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one. Have a great day. Peace.